The Dallas Cowboys are one of the most storied franchises in American sports, and they've widely been regarded as America's team. Now, notice I'm using past tense here because the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, I was still in my dad's nutsack, okay? So anyone that isn't old enough to have a mortgage hasn't seen them win jack shit. Now, despite the recent lack of success, there still seems to be a Cowboys bias in this country. Let's take Tony Romo, for example. He just signed a multi-year deal with CBS worth $17 million annually. And that's great and all, but he won 2 fucking playoff games in 11 years as a starter, while Jerry Rice, a 13-time Pro Bowler and a 3-time Super Bowl champion, is eating a rotating chicken wing out of a helmet in a Popeyes commercial. And don't get me wrong, I like Romo as a commentator. In fact, he's one of my favorite guys to watch on Sunday, but that's not the fucking point. The point is he got that position in the first place because of his status. Because if we look at what he's accomplished as an NFL quarterback, he has the same postseason record as Chad Pennington, and that motherfucker is coaching high school football in Kentucky. Now let's get into the man of the hour, Mr. Dak Prescott. And he's really not the most dislikable guy in the world. In fact, he was a mid-round pick. He grinded his way to be the Cowboys starting quarterback, beating out Romo in the process. And he's proven over his 4 years as a starter that he's an above-average NFL quarterback. But as most NFL guys know, the time to win in this league is drafting a quarterback who can play from the start. And while you're giving him his rookie money, you can build a super team around him. And that's your time to win a Super Bowl. Look at Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs this year. They did that exact same thing. And as you know, every NFL team has to work around a salary cap, which is around $198 million this year. Dak Prescott's new deal is going to be in the range of $34 to $37 million. And that's great and all, good for him. But the fact of the matter is, over his 4 years as a starter, he hasn't won a single playoff game, and he's just made over $3.5 million over those 4 years. So ask yourself this, Cowboys fan, how do you expect an improvement in the team when you're paying Dak 60 times more than he was making the past 4 years and haven't had any long-term success? Because when you pay a quarterback that kind of money, you're expecting a top dog. You're expecting a Mahomes, a Russell Wilson, a Tom Brady, for example. And what's a thing that all three of those guys have in common? They perform when it fucking matters. And Dak does not do that. If you look over his last 8 games against playoff teams, he's 1-7. How can you be 1-7 against playoff teams and expect top dollar? It doesn't work like that. And I do like some of the Cowboys stars on the offensive side of the ball. In fact, I think that the talent that the Cowboys have on offense is way better than anything we have right now. But when you dive into it, Amari Cooper is getting paid as the second highest receiver in the league, and he hasn't performed on the big stage either. In fact, if you look at his 2 big games last year, at New England and at Philadelphia, he shit the bed both times. He didn't have a single catch in Foxborough, and he had 4 catches for 24 yards against the Eagles week 16. Now, if you're demanding to get paid like a star receiver, that's unacceptable. You can't let Greg Ward, a college quarterback, triple your yards in the biggest rivalry game of the year. And Ezekiel Elliott had a good season for himself, numbers-wise, but when you dive deep into those numbers, you realize he didn't perform in the big games either. In fact, his three highest rushing yard games were against the Giants, the Redskins, and the Dolphins, all dog shit defenses, and his worst games were against the Saints, the Vikings, and the Eagles, which are all playoff and good defensive teams. Look at their star on the defensive line, DeMarcus Lawrence. He did well for himself by having 25 sacks in 2017 and 2018 combined, but then he gets his big deal from Jerry Jones and thanks him by having 5 sacks, his lowest sack total as a starter for the Cowboys. And speaking of Jerry Jones, he painted himself in a good light this offseason, proving to his critics that he doesn't sign players with off-the-field issues by signing Aldon Smith to the roster. Now, Aldon Smith, if you guys forgot, is a guy that hasn't played since 2015 after 3 DUIs and a domestic violence incident. Allegedly. Now, to wrap it up on today's video, I think the Cowboys have no choice but to pay Dak. He's proven to be a good, loyal member to the team, and I don't think they can find a better quarterback in free agency or the draft where their selections are at. But I think paying him that kind of money is going to cause some real problems with them. Look at the LA Rams this past year paying Jared Goff. Then they had the Todd Gurley injury problems, and you saw how fast they declined. And now they're trying to ship away all their expensive assets because they know they're fucked. And I think the Cowboys are going to be in a similar position. The way Jerry Jones, how much power he demands, how much he wants to run this team, I don't think he's going to be able to form a roster around a team when Dak's taking up 20% of the cap, when he proven he couldn't do it when Dak was barely taking up any money. So don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. I'll be making a full Eagles mock draft that'll be up Wednesday, the day before the draft, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys later.